Welcome to Fashion Frames. Today we're diving into the mind of a creative who's helped shape everything from sneakers to flatpacks. Luke Lee, you have led teams at Puma, IKEA and Lego, and you collaborated with big names like Dua Lipa and Blackpink. You are not afraid to challenge what brands think creativity should look like. And today we're going to talk with you about creative leadership in the age of AI and what comes next. So thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Exciting. Thank you for inviting me. I think this is the hot topic and in every organization I've been to. So I think exciting to discover some exciting topics today. Yeah.
Perfect. So I would like to start with the topic of creative revolution and AI disruption. You have shaped, as I said earlier, the creative direction of big global brands. And with tools like Midjourney, ChatGPT, Firefly now available to generate campaign visuals, what is really at stake for creative directors? Is it the beginning of the end, or is it the start of a new creative era? So thinking back to your collaborations with, for example, as I mentioned, Dua Lipa or Blackpink, how would those projects be different if developed using today's AI tools? Would you still need that human involvement?
For sure. I think that's actually quite an interesting project since we were imagining both superstar on the road trip. So I think now I'm thinking back, especially looking at what's the new AI tools, I can see that imagination can go even wilder. Is it the Vegas trip and the environment can be even there's no limit of what you can imagine. I think that's a key thing I discovered after until now, based on the article or the podcast I've been listening. I think that's probably going to be the biggest thing for this kind of creative industry, the what you can imagine. I think that would be big impact for that for sure. Yeah.
So now you mentioned that you would use it for this creative part to maybe generate even more creative backgrounds and so on. But what is one way you've actually seen AI being used behind the scenes in creative departments that you feel like would surprise people? So not the obvious thing.
I think right now, I think more and more is people call it as a tool, but I think I still believe that it still is additional member of the teams, or it is a partner, right? Traditionally we have copywriter and art director, but now we have a third person. They can imagining whatever you can imagining. So now you not just limit what you basically ask you. Oh, it will be photo shoot. How you shoot it is more what that storytelling can be. There's the open canvas. I think that's quite something. Slowly you realize that because typical prompts will be limited to how far you can go, but once your imagination can go wider and open up that possibility, AI gonna take you to even more places. I think that's the magic part. I think we'll continue to discover, but we slowly enhance that capability. For sure, yeah.
I do really like that view on AI, that it can be an additional team member. It's actually the first time I hear it in that wording. I do agree with that. It can really enhance what we're doing as humans, or we can be more effective and efficient and then focus more on the creative part actually, and not all of the mundane tasks. So we can really outsource some of it to an additional colleague. Very nice. Now, you are someone who is not afraid to talk about AI and is very vocal about this here, but I was wondering, do you feel like brands are being transparent with consumers about how and when they use AI and how it's shaping their experience? Or do you feel like there's still this disconnect between the public messaging and the internal realities?
I think it just depends on the phase of the AI, because I think it's still kind of early since even there's so many tools available right now. But still quite early stage because no one have a clear vision how to really use it. Because right now I think so many industry using it in a different way, either from scalability or imagination or creative industry or for anything, right? So or even machines and stuff. So I think no one really knows that get there yet. So I think it's still quite early to really to bold. I think we're still probably looking for that person or company to have a bold statement. This is what can be, to really loudly say that. I think right now still small steps, I would say. We're not take off yet. Once that taking off, you're going to see the bold statement in e-commerce business or in any small business or even both large scale scalable business. I think you will see the massive impact of that. I think we just waiting for that moment.
So it's
right
still
now,
testing the waters a little bit,
yeah.
basically, for all of the big
Both
brands.
from policy perspective and also, because I think from creative industry, ultimately the copyright and all those is really is a limitation. If not, I think we probably right now would go even further. But I think that's probably the biggest limitation this moment for creative industry.
Yeah.
But internally, we're probably using way more. But consumer facing is more legal situation. We struggle right this moment. Yeah.
I heard a lot about the difference between B2B and B2C business, because a lot of brands are using it on their B2B and then not B2C, so not
Yeah.
directly to consumer but business to business,
Yeah.
because of these legal questions that are still up in the air. So thank you for sharing that. So AI, in my experience, and you also mentioned that it speeds up workflows, right? It can make us a bit faster, more efficient. But you probably would agree if I say creativity still takes a soul. So how do you think you can strike that balance between the human intuition and the algorithmic support? And how does it actually look like?
I think it's, even beginning when it attacks the water, you can easily tell the generic prompts or the prompts come from your idea put into it. The outcome is dramatically different. Even not, visibly text, but you can see that's just the way, right? So I think that's why originality, that's why how much you can imagining is the key, right? How much you can get the link from practical perspective. Okay, this is the gap AI can bridge that. I think that still have that human intelligence or have a bigger picture way to get it done. So that's why I'm confident with human intelligence. It will still leading that. We're not worried about AI, but still we need to up to date to get there. Practice. Like I want to push my team. Practice how you can imagine, right? That's probably the key thing you can win this AI generation in the future. Not limited stereotype process and way of thinking. You need to imagine way more because anything you imagine it can happen now. I think that's the key thing. Yeah.
So it's really about mastering the tool and engaging with it instead of being afraid of it and trying to go a few steps back. But now you talked about jobs, right? Like how it impacts jobs, and everyone talks about like job disruption at the moment. So there's another way to look at it, I think, and that's what new creative roles or capabilities could emerge from AI. So I would like to not talk about necessarily what jobs it might erase, but really talk about how it can change the field and how it can create new jobs. Do you have an opinion on that?
Just like overall, when things, new media come and new tools come, there will be changes, right? So I think there's also open up new opportunities. The key thing is really to be open mind and how to say, be agile about that, to flexibly. That's why for me it's really key thing is important is your mind. That's nothing can replace. That's why humans are unique, as you know. So I think even recently, I think I just saw the movie Black Panther, and you can see that they, in the movie already exists AI as a system to help you to analyze, support you, create anything, right? Or Black Mirror, that's another darker story. But I think overall you can see that will be the future. So we can't ignore that. But how from know yourself perspective and then adding that as a system, as additional team for you. You are you will have an additional boost for your future career. So I think that's the mentality would be great. But ultimately, even nowadays, if you see job descriptions, AI is probably in a lot of job descriptions now. I think that's scary a lot of people because they probably don't know what's this. But at the same time, it's all about mindset. You understand principle of AI, and then of course that will be your day. It will be the future for sure.
Yeah, so it's also something that you look at when you're hiring new team members, that they are
Yeah.
familiar with AI and they're, okay, very agile when it comes to that.
It's pretty standard for any job application nowadays already. So
Yeah.
I think I think everyone need to understand that will be a super boost in your position. It's not you need to master AI because there will be technical team supporting that, but you need to know how things behave and how things works. I think that's a key thing. Yeah.
If you could future-proof one creative team for the next 10 years, what would be the first thing you change today? And just beyond, hiring people who understand AI a little bit or feel that they want to include AI in their workflow, like, is there one thing you would do?
I think I mentioned previously the level of imagination. That's the key skill I will push my team. Not no matter what job are you, copywriter, or art director, or even strategist. That need to be, you know, that's the probably the key skills will differentiate each person. Because hard skill like learning the tools are easier for new generation because they're born with capability to adopt new digital technology. That's I'm not big a concern. They just need time, practice, understand the things. But how, that's the thing no one can replace. Even the how, you can hire people to do it. I want people to create this. Then you're finding the expert for prompts for engineers. They can do it, but they don't know what to imagine. I think
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest strength in the future. So I will prefer like when I training the team or make sure that's the core rather than how to prompt. That's important, but that's also flexible because ChatGPT already can help you to prompt.
Yeah.
But they just need to know what to prompt. What do you want them to do? I think that's the most important skills to have.
So really thinking outside the box.
Because education nowadays, all those things, our imagination is reducing, right? Or limited. If you start working, they are even in a box, depending on the company, depending on the industry. So that is still quite hard. Think about even that sounds like really easy, but I think based on the new existing system, still our imagination is reduced compared to like when you're a kid. I think kids probably will be best creative because they have no limit.
I love
Yeah.
that. That is such a nice way to think of it. Yeah, and I heard that, and I mean, we all know that AI is just as good as the data set it's trained on, right? So it's trained on all the past marketing campaigns. And then if we want to create something new and we want to really do something innovative, something that hasn't been done, that's something that AI can't do. So I think that's what you're trying to say, right? That we can utilize it as an assistant, as you mentioned earlier, as an additional team member to support us, but the actual creative, innovative work still needs to happen within us. Some people are a bit concerned to talk about AI and sustainability because there's not that much data yet. But I would still like to ask you, do you think brands are using AI to drive sustainability in some shape or form? Or is it really just about scalability?
For this moment, probably more scalability because that's probably most easier effectiveness you can see or view the benefit of AI. I think, but of course, sustainability is a tough one because that's how you measure that is come through the core, then how much energy, the journey, all those things. So they might reduce certain part, but they might increase in other part. So that balance is always really hard to get 100%. But I think overall the aim ultimately is reduce the certain waste, as we reduce certain but I think once other technology catch up, then the servers can be smaller, faster, or storage. I think all those hardware elements can be because they are always improving every year. So it will be smaller and more efficiency or stuff. So, but I think this moment it's still hard to balance that perfectly yet. But I think ultimately goal is will be things will be less waste and faster and more efficiency. Yeah.
So when I think of IKEA and Lego, for example, I do notice them as brands who make an effort when it comes to sustainability to some extent. I was wondering when you were, oh, you still are, but inside these big brands, you were part of these like major sustainability pushes, right? How much of what we see is real innovation in your opinion, and how much is really just good storytelling?
I'm lucky to be both amazing companies, amazing brand, amazing products. For them, that's the core of their brand value. That's the dramatic difference and their goals. It's not like certain company they still it's more marketing tools, but this is the core. For Lego, they actually started even it is a plastic toy, but the level of their ambitions and how they produce and the quality and everything that's really high. Um, IKEA, they have a democratic design, and there's 5 elements, but sustainability is one of them. So everything we design have that based into it already. But I think they are less vocal about that. But I think that's the amazing part when you can work with those amazing brand. Also already bring those into action, not just talk. Because it is true, a lot of company doing greenwash or just talk about that. Of course, this to scale the company is big, so that's why to really fixing all those situations, of course, it take a longer time because that's not just from product design; it's all from the way beginning to the end, right? To get the purely most sustainability in supply chain. I think we're onto both brands are onto that journey. So I'm definitely proud to be able to work with both brands like that. Um, but it's not the easy journey. But I think definitely we're on that. Yeah.
So how do you think AI can actually help with that sustainability mission? Do you think it will help to get even better in that field?
For sure, I think that's why it's important to pinpoint where and how that gap is, where we need to scale it up, speed up, right? Where we still keep it the secure the quality and stuff. I think that's the bigger picture mapping thing to really get it done. And also AI is amazing things is they can work 24/7. And then how you analyze, make sure whatever we do is better for the environment. And when the environment changes, they know. But we need to physically be there to know certain things. So I think that's a benefit. A lot of things there's a lot of opportunities. So I think we just need to have a zoom out way more to understand the whole journey and then pinpoint where and how we bridge and speed up things and reduce the certain sources. I think that can be the way. Even I'm not directly working that kind of topic, but I think that's how I see from my perspective. That's the way AI definitely can be a really beneficial partners.
Yeah, I would like to go back to the whole collaboration topic for just a moment because you've been in a really interesting collaboration, I think. You've been involved in the IKEA and Swedish House Mafia collaboration, which blends two very different worlds together. In your experience, what makes a brand collaboration feel authentic and creatively strong? And have there been any recent collaborations that really stood out to you for better or for worse?
Yeah, collabs is really popular. It's become every company or brand's playbook nowadays. But I think the ones that are successful is really to bring know firstly you need to know each partner who you are, what you represent, what's the DNA of both partners, or even three nowadays, and defining that core, and then when you mix together, that's the magical things happen. Like for Swedish House Mafia, I think there's a lot of insights probably sometimes maybe a customer didn't realize is we design bookshelves. That's our most selling bookshelves.
Oh, I didn't
But
know.
yeah,
Interesting.
but no, no. I think the basis from one of our most popular bookshelves. The people storage the record there.
Yeah.
However, the height is a little lower for if you want to DJ on top of that. So in that case, actually, we create for this collection, we actually make it a little higher and really wider to make your record players there, but also you can DJ, put the DJ set there. So I think that's level of small details to really have the good insights and from both parties. They find out, yeah, because when I was a starting DJ, we're always using that IKEA shelf, but it's a little low. We need to stack books and on top of my record player or a DJ set, and that's kind of the link make the magic happen. Because when they hit customer, they say, yeah, this is exactly what we need. I think that's the effect. For me, is a great merge of both parties. That's what
Yeah.
would be that kind of ideal. Yeah.
So starting from a very like best-selling known style, or but in that case a piece of furniture, and then from there really developing something new, something unique based on like
It's not.
collaboration.
It's more the insight. I think sometimes when two collabs, they does merge brand, right? Brand identity rather than the insight. I think that's what I mentioned. The most used bookshelf for DJ people um, is that bookshelves. That's why I think that's the basic line. It's not most selling, but at least that's the insight we find out. They find out because they use that. When they start in DJ, they use that shelf,
Yeah,
and then but they have the concern, but no one fixing it yet. But
yeah,
now we're fixing that together. I think that's the magic thing,
that's
rather than
really
two
cool.
brands. Of course, black on black. That's the most natural way both brands connected. But I think that insight, matching, understand the customer, what they need and what they want, that's additional boost to the product. Then people will want more rather
Yeah,
than, oh, of course, Swedish House Mafia and IKEA, it will be black color, all the whole collection. But I think but then when you see, oh, there's a lot of smart thinking behind it. There's a computer editing desk that we have a speaker stand. Since when you remix video music, you need to have a speaker listen to your air level. We have a stand just for that. I think that is not typical. We can design a desk, but I think the design a desk just for the DJ lovers. I think that's the thing make it a little bit special. Yeah.
circling back to AI, right? Because that's what we talk about in this podcast. I've seen a lot of collaboration now with AI models. There are also AI influencers. There's this whole AI world out there that is in the zeitgeist now. So I was wondering, how do you feel that will impact this collaboration topic in the creative industry?
It will be wider the landscape. Ultimately, when you mention virtual or AI influencer, or even in the future social platforms, they will need, for example, accessories, and that ultimately become the brand opportunities. Like that nowadays avatar. I think in the future there will be more personalized. There will be more, you know, like the a lot of movies already mentioned that imagining that world already. So I think the landscape will be wider. It's not just the media landscape will be even more. So I think that's probably the biggest opportunities for those.
Would
Yeah.
you collaborate? Would you support a collaboration with an AI model, for example? Would that be something you feel would be interesting?
I think uh, there's a virtual model already exists as a really high, really successful influencer. I think one come from Japan, if I'm correct. I think actually IKEA Japan did a collaboration with her. You can see the fan base and also interaction is quite nice. I think in the future, more AI driven, um, I think that will be even wider. Because I think for this moment, it's still not real AI model because there's a human behind it, obviously, because there's no platform allowed to AI naturally behave yet. So maybe that will be the next stage. Right now, it's all human generate. There's a human, how to
Yeah,
say,
using it as a mask, basically, using it as
exactly,
like to the
exactly.
outside, but
So.
there's a human identity behind it. Yeah.
So in the future, probably more natural, and you probably can build that personality or natural behavior based on the character you built, and they will behave that naturally as a human on the digital platform.
I love that you've been involved in so many projects that I would call are bold ideas. And I was thinking, without naming any names, right? What is the boldest idea you've seen, rejected, could have been your own or from someone else, that you still keep thinking, oh my God, that would have changed everything?
Of course, that's always the struggle sometimes because of when you're working in a large organization, the level to get everyone on the same page is quite hard things. But I think that's why tools like AI can be good. Is they can suddenly you can now just talking. Oh, this is gonna be great. You can preview certain things. Then it will be easier to sell and convince. I think even our road trip is already amazing, but I think we can even go wider. For example, but of course there's other limitation from practical perspective. I think I think that's the thing for me is how to best selling present your visions even more clear way. I think that's the way to have that will be easier to get everyone on the same page. And oh, this is what you're imagining. It's now something in my mind since when you mention for even when you imagine oh it's a road trip, everyone's mind what they can imagine is different. But what we're imagining is even crazier then ask AI tools to imagine that, then it's actually, oh, this is great. I think I don't have a me even this project is also quite interesting. In the beginning, I'm thinking, oh, we're gonna build we're gonna create special neon signs, and no one knows what that mean, right? So I did actually using AI tools to generate a neon sign in the middle of the desert, and then do the mock-up of our investors there. Then everyone said, "Oh, this is great. We need to do that." I think that's actually the way I can see. Even in the beginning, they were constantly like, "Oh, we're gonna build a large-scale neon sign, but why? And that will cost a lot of money." But when we're doing that, they say the value, I say that level of impact is, I say, oh yes, we need to make sure we make it happen.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing is everyone how sometimes creative want to be bold, but at the same time not everyone can imagine the same. So hopefully this new age will help that present that vision even more clearly.
Okay, so really eases the communication within the team and makes it easier to pitch ideas very fast so you
Exactly.
can hopefully get them across. Yeah.
Right.
I would like to jump to a different topic because your whole background, it's really, really interesting and intriguing. You've worked across Asia, Europe, the US, and from your perspective, are there any regions that are currently leading the way creatively? And where do you see maybe untapped potential or areas that could evolve further? So, really on this global perspective.
I think overall I live in different regions and quite lucky I have the can do that. But I would say every region have their own strength. Um, I think that's why this globalization is helping because they can utilize each other's strengths and bounce ideas. I think ultimately Asia is a quite unique market because the consumer is really live. You need to constantly creating new and the engagement. That's what they're after. So in that case, it need to be speed and faster. So from tech perspective and from certain level, when you do new, the need from customer is actually a lot of interesting stuff come from Asia because of that, either entertainment business or others. I think U.S. ultimately is an amazing technical country. At the same time, they're so strong with their movies and other stuff. Europe is long history, artistic design. That's why I think when we do photographers, I think European just a lot of times is stand out from visual perspective. But I think when you utilize both regions and both, I think that's the beneficial. There's amazing things will come from all when they all together.
I would like to, before we wrap everything up, talk a little bit about your personal predictions and your future vision. So really about your opinion. You've worked across very different industries, as we talked about, and cultures. What is one creative principle or mindset that stayed with you no matter what brand or project you worked on or for?
I think really key thing, no matter what age or technology come, key thing as a creative is stay curious. That's the key thing. You will stay up to date or kind of creating the future. I think that's a key thing. Try new things, experience. It don't need to be perfect, but I think then you understand things way easier, and you'll be ahead of a lot of people. I think that's the key thing. I try to stay myself, but at the same time pushing all of my teams to stay curious, try explore the things you're interested, or even get out their comfort zone to try something new, because you never know what's that bring you. In order to know that, you just have to do it. So yeah, I think that's the key thing for me. Yeah.
And if you could go back and give your younger creative self a piece of advice, maybe something you didn't know at that time or hear at that time, what would that be? Would that be to stay curious, or would that be something else?
I think for me, stay curious is already in my blood, so I think and that's probably won't be that one. I think the curiosity drive me where I'm at right now. But I think, of course, certain advice would be good is be more organized, or learn other capabilities way early. By meaning, when you're in certain level of project managing skills, you need to involved. Certain numbers you need to involved. I think I wish those you can slowly learn way early. I think that can be beneficial for later on when you go higher, because it's not just the practical how to be creative anymore. There's a complex in that job. Yeah.
I don't really like the word seasoned professional, but it's been used so many times in my career, like really making sure that you have all of these different bits and pieces of being organized, being creative, understanding the business, and having the skill set that in the end is so well-rounded that you can go into a leadership role, right?
Yeah.
So before we wrap this up, I would like to try something I haven't tried before. I would like to do a closing lighting round. So I have a few questions where I just need you to answer one word, one sentence. Most overhyped technology that brands are investing in right now?
I would say AR.
Augmented reality?
Yes.
And in 15 years, will most shopping experiences still happen in physical stores?
I think so. I think physical will still exist, but it will be changed. Not the typical ones we have right now. Yeah.
One thing creative teams should stop doing?
Think about the TV commercial first.
And the last one for you, most underrated skill in creative leadership?
Uh, I think I think it would be being a leader because I think being a manager is easier. Being a leader is quite tough. Yeah.
I agree with that. That is such a good answer. Thank you so much, Luke Lee, for joining our podcast. This was really inspiring. I've learned a lot. And thank you so much.